Hello, my name is Rita Leaman and I am immediate past president of Sorotimist International of Yorkshire and a member of Sorotimist International of Scarborough. And if you're wondering what on earth all that means and why I'm sitting here with a very old gramophone and old records, I will explain to you and what they have to do with Choose to Challenge for International Women's Day 2021. Well, in October 19, I became president of Sorotimist International of Yorkshire. I was very privileged to be asked to be president. I had to oversee 21 clubs over the whole county. That's a challenge in itself. But of course, last March, lockdown 1 happened. And my diary, full of meetings, conferences, travelling all over the county, travelling over the UK, stopped, gone. What on earth to do? I mean, first of all, there was all a bit of a novelty, wasn't it, of suddenly everything stopping. But I couldn't stop because there were these clubs, there were nearly 400 members who, basically were looking for some sort of leadership. So I had to try and think that the only thing we could do was communicate. Communication was the most important thing, and how did we do that? Well, first of all, I started a newsletter. I've got the clubs to make sure that they were communicating with all their members because some were quite isolated, some were sheltering. Certainly they set up telephone buddy systems, and we got going quite quickly on that. But then our focus is on project work, which we call programme action. We are women who inspire action, transform lives of women and girls worldwide. But what could we do in lockdown? Well, the women belonging to the Sorotimists are skillful and imaginative, and they turn their hand. There was masses of all sorts of project work going on in their own homes. People were making scrubs, they were helping in community kitchens. There was all sorts of work going on, keeping in touch with people in nursing homes, writing, anything that they could do in their own home. In June 20, we had our first Zoom meeting. About 20 of us sort of tentatively got onto Zoom and had a meeting. And by November, there were over 100 attendees, people who'd never thought of even purchasing a tablet or listening in on Zoom. And by that time, the clubs were having meetings, parties, quizzes, wine tastings. It's become part of life, and that's how the Sorotimists in Yorkshire chose to challenge the pandemic, really, and how it affected the organisation. But in October 2020, we had another challenge because lockdown 2 happened. I also passed the presidency on to Linda Davis of Dewsbury, and so I had to sit back in this house and think, right, what do I do now? So I went back into my psychotherapy training and thought, right, I have to look at what can I do with what I have. And in a cupboard, I had my mother's old 1939 gramophone and my mother's records from that time, mostly dance music. And I had thought about things beforehand of, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could play this music to help people with memory loss, sort of reconnect with past times. My mother had vascular dementia, and I knew the importance of music in helping her reconnect with times and start conversations. It was excellent. But we couldn't think of the Sorotimists doing anything in the community because of lockdown and all the restrictions we have. But with the help of my husband Adrian, we've started a YouTube channel, and it's called My Mother's Music. That's the flyer, My Mother's Music. And it is it says, my mother's record collection, music played on her 1939 gramophone for carers, friends and family, helping people with memory loss reconnect with past times, for use on phones and tablets, and you can play it on the TV screen. And in time, when restrictions are lifted, the Soroptimists of Scarborough are going to look at maybe organising some small events, or visiting people in their homes, or going into nursing homes, and being able to do an activity with this gramophone and records. So that was a challenge chosen to challenge dementia. Now, my theme was not a write-off in my presidential year, and we covered everything with recycling. We got hundreds and hundreds of bras recycled, huge sackfuls of jewellery recycled for Alzheimer's. That was not a write-off, and so the challenge was not for the clubs in Yorkshire not to be a write-off through lockdown, through last year, and this certainly were not a write-off. We also have another project going called Get Care Sorted, and we're particularly focusing on the needs of people, for carers and people with dementia. But of course, since we started that project, of course there's been a lot of publicity due to the sadness around people in nursing homes, particularly those with dementia. And so that's our challenge at the moment, and we are choosing to challenge it. The Yorkshire members, the Scarborough members, that is our present choose to challenge. So thank you very much for listening, and have a wonderful International Women's Day and International Women's